you?
Good.
Good.
All right, I'm so excited.
Are you?
So,
is that what we're calling it?
yes.
Okay, so today I will be heading into a coaching session with a third grade teacher, Miss Arp. And I haven't had the chance to speak with her yet.
Okay.
But I wanted to touch base with you just to set some overarching goals, and maybe talk through a couple things. In terms of coaching, prior to having spoken with her, I don't really know what her goals are yet. So I think if it's okay with you, I'm just going to articulate maybe some overarching goals.
Yeah, maybe something that you've kind of been focusing on just overall as a coach. And if we can tie that in, then we will.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so based on being at a new site this year and trying to simultaneously build relationships while making instructional change, I have been really trying to recognize my role, which based on the reading we did at the coaches meeting, recognizing my role between facilitator, coach, mentor, those type of things. And it's a tricky balance, right? Sometimes we want to build the trust, and so maybe we back off a little bit of instructional pushes, or which has a place. And then sometimes maybe if we're trying that instructional push, it's not the right time, it's not the right placement, it's not the right focus. So one thing I've been trying to do, just generally speaking, is really be cognizant of the role, which of course we know that can ebb and flow in the course of just one conversation, right?
Yes.
So being cognizant of that and understanding the impact of the different roles at the different times.
Yes.
And trying to ensure that I'm leveraging the correct one, if that makes sense. So if they're needing more of a facilitator, if they're needing more of a mentor or a directive coach stance, if you will, that's something that I'm trying to set a goal on. So I don't know. And I think maybe in terms of like what we capture together, I might need to talk with her specifically with what we're doing. But an overarching goal would just be, is the stance of coaching that I'm providing what she needs in the moment to get student success, if that makes sense, right? So sometimes it may be what she needs or she thinks she needs somebody to pat her on the back and tell her it was a good job, but maybe that's not what we needed for student success. Right. So am I finding the right balance? Does that make sense?
That makes sense. And I think that being at a new site, this is my third year at a site, I understand where you're coming from. And if you don't build those relationships in the beginning, then it's hard to kind of move forward with that. So yeah, definitely I think you can go in and out, you know, of a role in one conversation. So yeah, we'll kind of see.
Let me talk with her and see how that looks and how that unravels. I think once I get done talking with her, I will probably have a very much more specific one, and this could potentially be maybe just an overarching one that we talk about in terms of my growth with this teacher specifically. I know another thing that I've been grappling with as I get ready to do this is, and in coaching in general, is capturing the experience. Obviously, videotaping is the best, and a lot of times I'm lucky that I've had a number of teachers that are allowing me to do that. However, depending on her focus for today, I'm not gonna lie, like the technology age has changed me. And so I feel like the old way that we used to do it, writing it out, slows me down a little bit.
Yes.
But I'm not like entirely proficient on the like capturing it on like a laptop or a tablet or something like that. And so I feel like when I script things, sometimes I miss things. Like when I write it, because it's not taking. So I'm just trying to think outside. Do you have any thoughts on how to capture? And maybe this is what we need to come back to once she tells me what her focus is. But I'm nervous that I'm not going to be able to capture what I need to capture for us to be able to reflect on the lesson appropriately.
Right, and I do think if you videotape it, obviously that helps, but that's not going to be every lesson, because that's where you could just forward to those moments of and just watch those certain portions of it. And I don't know if sometimes you just almost have to do, I don't know if you do a combination. I'm trying to think, like trying to like type or just write, like, but
I don't know. Because I was thinking like typing, I think I'm more proficient at, but when we think of like scripting columns, how do you toggle back and forth?
Yes, and that's something that I know, like just old school, kind of drawing those columns and the teacher
Right.
and the student and engagement. Like
Right.
it's much easier to go just pencil back and forth with those.
Why don't I have that conversation with her, what our very narrow like lesson focus for today is, and then we can come back and ensure that if I'm not able to hash out a good like documentation scripting plan with her, that you and I can flesh it out, and then I can go back to her, and then we can kind of set my goals a little bit more specifically after speaking with her.
Yes, because I think once you speak with her, I feel like we could make a document, like a chart, put headings for what our focus is. However, not that we're gonna have several things to focus on, but if we had a student column, like have that pre-made.
Okay.
Almost like I'm thinking like a graphic organizer.
Right.
It's kind of how my brain goes. So that might be something that we try, because that mirrors having just columns where we would write it in.
Right.
But I'm thinking if it was made, that template, really I guess what I'm looking for, if that template was made ahead of time, you could maybe easily
go back
jump
and forth between
from
them.
box to box.
Right.
Because I think from what it sounds like when you're normally scripting, maybe you're just typing out kind of just, line by line. So if we hear what her needs are and pre-make a template.
Right, something that would work for the both of us. Okay. Why don't we narrow down what the focus is for the day and then come back? But those are kind of like what's floating around in my head as we go into this initial pre-conversation with her.
Okay.
So, sound good?
All right, that's great.